Hello, this is Kelly Hammond. Welcome to the Resiliency Coach podcast. This podcast showcases people who have faced difficult times and how they got through it. These experiences are real and sometimes raw. The people who share their stories are here to tell you that you're not alone in your struggle. They share the tools and resources they use in healing. If you're looking for solutions for getting through tough times, contact us at www.resiliency.coach. So today, I'm interviewing my friend, Raquel Marie. And Raquel is a financial literacy coach, author, wife, mother, and proud me mom and minister. So welcome to my podcast, Raquel. Can you tell us what your story is?
I was raised by a single mom who was a teenager. So I always say that when it comes to finances and your money, that your background is a lot of effects to it, and you don't realize it. So I came from a single mom who was not very good with money at all. I did a video on Facebook just the other day, and in it I was saying how I know the smell of poverty. There's a certain smell of poverty, and a lot of people don't realize that. And so my mom was the mom, and she's that the bills was not due until the disconnect notice came. So it got thrown to the side until she had to pay it, and then it was just paying what was needed. Unfortunately, I picked up, even though my grandmother was really wonderful with money, I picked up my mother's money habit, and so I went through my 20s and 30s and half of 40s with really bad money habits, not paying bills, poor credit score. And it all came because of the way I was raised. I've had times when my mom had the electric off for like 2-3 months. So living in the dark and not knowing how to manage money. And so that really affected me as I went into my life. And unfortunately, my son saw it because he picked up on some of those habits. And when you look at those issues and you realize that it's deeper than how you're paying your bills. It's deeper than just what you're doing with your money. It becomes a mental thing. It becomes a mindset thing. And so I went through that really struggling with poor money mindset. With poor money mindset, where I just was maintaining and living in poverty. You know, I would be good one day and bad the next day. I've moved around a lot because of housing situations. And I realized that came from my childhood. So then I have to decide, okay, what do I do about that? So when you're dealing with avoiding phone calls, when you're dealing with not being able to pay your bills, working, but seems money's never enough, it takes a hardship on who you are. And so I dealt with the depression of feeling like I'm not enough. I dealt with the depression of feeling like I'll never have what I see others have. I don't have the money to be able to say I want shrimp for dinner and go and buy shrimp for dinner. I have to plan a while for me to get shrimp. And it takes a toll on you mentally when you realize that you're continuing a curse, a generational curse. You're continuing the same thing that you want to get out of, but you don't know how to get out of it. You're continuing that lifestyle of it's not due until the disconnect comes or until the eviction notice comes. And then you're scrambling. My grandmother always taught me, if you can't pay one, you can't pay two. But somehow that never stuck in my head. So if I can't pay 1 month, how am I going to now pay 2 months? If I can't pay 2 months, how am I pay 3 months? But I never paid that any attention because my mom always taught me that always pay yourself first. Make sure you do something for yourself first. And unfortunately, self came before bills. And so I had to, in my 20s and 30s, I bad credit scores, not paying bills, not wanting to answer the phone calls. and just going through life and not enjoying life, just not enjoying yourself. I mean, you go through that and you sit there and you're like, I'll never be able to do, my credit score is horrible and I'll never be able to achieve anything. And then to see my son not saving and not budgeting, and you just paying what you can pay, and you get paid. Some people, I always say, paycheck. Someone said paycheck to prayer check, right? It's not paycheck to paycheck because it doesn't last to the next paycheck. I was in a position where I was fortunate if it lasted the day after paycheck, right? And so going through that day, week in and week out, and trying to figure out how to overcome that and how to just get out of that cycle, continuous cycle. And it wasn't until I was in my 40s that I started researching and started reading, and I'm a Googler. So I Google everything. And I started Googling and I found out how to work on your credit and how to get things off your credit and what that meant. And then I still wasn't making enough. So I was like, okay, Lord, I need some extra money. And he said, well, here you are, right? And so it's turned into a business, which has turned into a passion now. But it took a long time. And then I went on this credit yo-yo thing where, okay, so I can get my credit score up to 6 something, and then I can get all these credit cards, but guess what happened? I didn't pay the credit card bills. And so I got back down to it. And then I was upset because I was avoiding debt collectors again. I was not paying my bills on time. And I was dealing with all that until I started realizing it's a mindset thing. You have to get your mindset. And I started looking at mindset and reading the word on affirmations and realizing that it started with this. It starts with your mind, right? So you have to really realize that you can have what you desire and then find the tools to get to what you desire. So I was able to, at that point, change my thinking. And I still, to be 100%, I still at times dip a little bit, but I can consistently say that my finances is better now because I was able to realize that I had to let go of what I was taught and let go of the belief that I'm no good for it. At one point, my business name, and I changed the name now, was Yancey, which stood for You Are Not Your Credit. And so I wanted people to realize that your credit score is not who you are, right? And I had to start with myself. That 400 credit score did not change the fact that I'm a wonderful mom, that I'm a wonderful daughter, that I'm a wonderful wife, that I'm a wonderful mom, that I'm still a child of God, that God still loves me regardless of that number. I can change the number, but I'm still wonderful. And I tell women that all the time, you're still wonderful. You're still that person. It's just your credit score needs to do some work. Your money management might need some help, but you're still who you are. So until I got there, I kept on struggling with this money thing and not having enough. And no matter what I did, I couldn't seem to get past that. I need money, money doesn't fall off trees, right? So I need money and I need to learn how to use what I have. And when I became grateful for what I have, I was able to receive more. So I tell people that you can't get more money if your hands are closed. And if you're so closed with your money and you're so ungrateful for what you already have, you can't be blessed with more. You can't have the abundance when you're so tight with what you already have. And when I started releasing that and I started tithing and I started being willing to give my last dollar if necessary, it flowed in. So for me, it was understanding that I had to, again, let go of some things and to let go and love me. Because it's not always about just the poor money management, it's the poor self-management. And if you don't love yourself, how can you have anything good for yourself? And so that's what really helped me overcome my financial issues. If I had anything to tell somebody, it would be love yourself, regardless of your credit score. We can work on the credit. We can work on the budgeting. We can work on getting a savings plan. But if you don't love yourself, you will continue to fall back into the same habits that you was in. So you have to start with your mind. It starts with what you think about yourself, and it starts with what you think about money. And if you have a decent relationship with yourself, and you start having a decent relationship with money, and you start to start addressing what's holding you back, everything else can change. You can have what you desire, whatever it is, financially, but it has to start with yourself. You have to let go of what you are holding on to, because a lot of times it's deeper than finances. It's deeper than money. For me, I had to let go of that smell of poverty. I had to let go of living without lights, being evicted. And as a child, I had to let go of that in order to get to where I am now.
How did you let go?
Prayer, self-reflecting, journaling, just journaling. I love journaling. I love to be able to just write. I had to write. And I found this one thing years ago, and I don't remember where I saw it at, but one tip for letting go, to release it on paper. So you write down what was bothering you. And for me, it was forgiving my mom for allowing the lights to be turned off. So I wrote that, and then I said, I forgive you. I'm letting it go. I'm not accepting it as my life anymore. And I released it on paper. And it took time. It wasn't just a one-time writing it down and releasing it. But even when it pops up now, I mentally say, I release it. I release it. I'm letting it go. It's not my life now. And I move forward. And I don't let it stay in my life. I don't let it stay in my mind space, because that's not who I am now. And I had no control of it back then. So knowing that I had no control and I can release it has helped me let go of so many things, especially when it comes to my finances and just where I was as a child growing up.
Love that. How you are letting go of control, but yet controlling the letting go of control.
Wow. Yeah.
It's you're letting go of the mindset, but yet controlling the mindset at the same time.
Yes.
Controlling the thoughts and the behaviors that are with the thoughts. And because of that, you are able to let go of the control. I love that. And I love that that's true. Our mindset is something we can control. It is something we can let thoughts in as well as let them out.
Yes.
It's not like a steel door that has a lock from outside. The key is inside. We've got it, and it's not a steel door. It's full of bubbles that just pop the minute we start touching them. And I love that. And the letting go, as well as relying on prayer, a higher source, where when we do feel out of control, who is it that can be in control? And I love that too, that you've taken God, a source that is bigger than all of us, and relied on him for your problems. Yes. And that's a tool I've often used also.
Yes, and it's I think the greatest gift that we have, whoever your highest source is to be able to go to them and just release it. You know, for me, is as a Christian, is Jesus. You know, I can just go to him at any given time. Sometimes I think he gets tired of me, but but I just appreciate that. That is the greatest gift I have, is that I can go and say, help. I need help, or or go to prayer and things like that. So,
he understands, and he's there. Yes. That's awesome. Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that and sharing your tools that you've used. Now, I have another question for you. If there was one piece of advice that you could give somebody that may be listening to this podcast, or if they were sitting right next to you today that may be having the same difficulty, that you went through, what piece of advice would you give them?
I just want, like I said before, I just want, I work with women more than men, but I want women to know that we can overcome our challenges. It just takes time. Um, I love working with women and for them to see the change, and my goal is to get rid of generational curses because our children see what we do, right? And so I see my son now because he sees the changes I've made, trying to teach his son how to save. And he has a piggy bank, and teaching him to put your money in your piggy bank, and seeing my son trying to get his credit back up, and seeing his goals and being able to nurture him to get to where, so he's not 40 and 50 trying to, get his money right. He can do it now. So it's a great feeling. I just want to encourage somebody who's listening that it's not too late. There's never a time frame. So if you're dealing with your finances, I'd love for you to reach out to me, and not to work with me or to hire me, but just to talk, and if I can help you get to that point where you can get an understanding and your aha moment comes, then that's great.
Very good advice. Thank you so much. And we have one last question. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, be able to speak with you, how would you like them to do that?
They can email me at info@raquelmfarmer.com or on Facebook, Raquel M. Farmer. And those would be the two best ways to reach me, is by email or by Facebook. And my website, or you can go to my website at www.raquelmfarmer.com.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Raquel, for sharing your story with us. Thank you, audience, for listening to Raquel's story. And remember, there is a way through your difficulty. Please seek out other resources and people who can and will help you. Now, if you're looking for alternative tools for handling difficult times or moving ahead in life, contact us at www.resiliency.coach. Hope you all have a blessed day and a wonderful life. Goodbye.